The man that's going to lead this Black Power movement, that's going to really push the civil rights movement with its momentum, is a guy named Malcolm X. And again, he has that concept of any means, yes, it's necessary. And Malcolm X is an amazing person, right? Malcolm X, he was born Malcolm Little, ends up going to jail for burglary in 1946, but while he's there, he educates himself, he gets a degree, and he joins a movement, a black nationalist movement. Now remember, we had talked about Black Power on the last slide, this idea that blacks should be in charge of their existence, and that Black Power does promote things like self-defense. Malcolm X is going to take that one step further. Malcolm X is going to say, we need black nationalism, and black nationalism is this idea that whites and blacks should be separate. Now that we had looked at back when we did the 1920s and those hate groups, this idea of black nationalism, which Marcus Garvey, in fact, there's your word that you want to write down and send into us, Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey had first promoted black nationalism back in the 1920s. And this group that he joins that promotes it is called the Black Muslims, and they're not mainstream Muslims the way that you would see a regular Muslim around the world, because these Muslims incorporate into their beliefs this concept of black nationalism, this concept of complete separation from the white race. While he's in jail, Malcolm Little is going to change his name to Malcolm X. He wants to break with his slave owners' past, and I don't know if you realize that or how many folks realize that. If your ancestry as an African American is rooted in slavery, then your last name as an African American, assuming a direct lineage between where you are right now all the way back to when you came over from West Africa, assuming that, then your last name would be the last name of your slave owner when you first came over. That's how that worked. You didn't come with the last name Little from West Africa, which was at the time a tribal society. You came with a different name, and you got the last name of your owner. And Malcolm Little doesn't want to recognize that. He wants to reject it. He believes in black nationalism, so he's going to change his name to Malcolm X, and he's going to say, we need to do this by any means necessary. Now, what I've done here in order to help you understand this is I have two things here, right? I have an Oreo and a glass of milk. Now, the glass of milk actually has no presence on this whole demonstration whatsoever, but it does serve as a delicious dunking tool for these Oreos that I'm eating. But what I do want to show you is this Oreo right here. This is Martin Luther King's Oreo. This is nonviolent civil disobedience. This is Black America putting pressure on white America, smush, in order to create change, right? Provoke violence, white America lashes out, and all of a sudden, everyone realizes that white America is crazy and racist, and change needs to happen, and things get better for black America, right? Malcolm X says, that's no go, man. Why are we waiting for the double creamy filling to make the change? Why are we even hanging out with this double stuffed creamy white filling? We don't even need it. Malcolm X says, it's time for black nationalism. It's time to separate completely from white America. This is a beautiful, strong black cookie. Doesn't need this cream. Doesn't need it. Now, Malcolm X is actually going to change his views. Now, he had been preaching this idea of black nationalism, right? This concept that freedom cannot wait. Any means necessary, we will take our freedom now. But then, as a member of the black Muslims, he goes on a pilgrimage to Mecca. It's the holy city of those who practice Islam. And while in Mecca, which is in Saudi Arabia, he sees Muslims of nations from all over the world there together, peacefully worshiping at the holiest site in the Islamic faith. It's this section right here called the Kaaba. And he realizes that if people of so many diverse races can practice a faith like Islam together as one group, then maybe integration is possible. Maybe with the right amount of patience, we can have a society that is, in fact, delicious. A perfect balance of black and white. Of course, these criticisms, this change in perspective, is going to really tick off the Nation of Islam, right? This black Muslim group that he had joined that was preaching black separation. And as a result, they shoot him. They kill him in Harlem after he gives his speech. And so he'll die. And the leader of the Black Power movement is seeing his life cut short.